Everybody get up, no need to cram now. We got a real jam going down, going down, going down, going down, going down, going down. Welcome to the Intelligems.
Alex, how's it going, man?
Doing good. I got the scruffiness going. I'm not shaving this till the Blue Jays lose, so
Okay.
we might be getting a progressively bigger beard.
There we go. Blue Jays are hot right now. I'm excited for you.
First time in. I was 2 years old the last time they were in the World Series, so this is exciting.
That's super exciting. Well, also we're dating now, the recording of this episode, because who knows, by the time this gets released, maybe the Blue Jays will have lost a long time ago.
Or the Blue Jays have won the World Series.
Oh, they've already won the World Series. Yeah. Which means you don't get to shave your beard until next year.
True.
I'm going to hold you to that. Cool. What would you like to jam on today, Alex?
So we get asked a question very frequently, and I want to jam on it. And that question is, I want to get started with IntelliGEMS. I've installed the product. Where do I start?
Okay. How do we, where do you begin? Where's the most value, the most obvious things? That's a great question. And I get that question a lot too, Alex. Maybe you've thought about this. I'm happy to start. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I can go first. I think for me, one thing we say a lot, and we've said it a few times on this podcast, is that when you're not testing and standing still, it's a big opportunity cost. When you have traffic coming to the site, when you have customers checking out and you're not learning something from it, you are sitting at probably suboptimal. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing when getting started is, good Walt Disney quote here, is the best way to get started is to get started. And for me, that's IntelliGEMS. I talk a lot about the beyond the page type testing, some of these bigger swings. But I think that you actually want to be doing two things at the same time. So if I was getting started with IntelliGEMS, I would be looking for kind of these +1 type optimizations that I can be going with in kind of rapid succession. So I'd be what's something easy and small that I can just do right now? And where I would start with that is on the highest trafficked page. Where am I sending the majority of my ad traffic to right now? Is to a collection page, a product page, the home page, whatever that page is. Pick something based on a hypothesis and test it. Could be as small as changing the headline, the hero image, something like that. I do that. And at the same time, I would pick something that is going beyond the page and has the potential to be a bigger multiplier for me. And my thing that I would start with is, I know a lot of people look at IntelliGEMS for price testing. One of my tests that I find myself recommending the most at the beginning is actually a shipping rate test. And the reason I love recommending this is because it's very close to the money.
Okay.
The shipping rate is something that people are interacting with, basically when they decide to make a purchase. And if I can play around with shipping rates and go from, say I'm splitting the difference with the customer, it's $10 to ship this product and I'm charging them $5 and I'm eating the other $5. What if I charge them $6? If the conversion rate doesn't drop off in any sort of significant way, and a lot of times when people test this, it doesn't. That's literally $1 on every single order that's going straight to the bottom line.
Yeah.
So very close to the money, very kind of low risk, and a great way to take kind of that bigger swing. But again, do that at the same time as you have one of these smaller things. You don't get to 1 billion adding by ones. So I can't just do all these small optimizations, but I also can't multiply 0. I need a constant stream of testing.
Yeah. I really like this sort of parallel path approach that you have here. There's the big swings and the base hits kind
of. Oh, going to a baseball analogy.
To use a Blue Jays analogy, yeah. It's funny. It's almost as if we've talked about this before. So when I get asked this question, maybe let's role play. You are a CEO of a medium-sized e-commerce brand, and you ask me, go ahead, ask me.
So where do I get started? What should I test first?
So then what I would ask you is, where are you sending traffic to your site? Where do people land when they come to your website?
We have a large collection of products, and I haven't cracked a way to get specific in my ads, so I mostly send people to a collection page.
Cool. So that would probably be where I start. And so I know you mentioned that this is like where you start, which is also going to be maybe like for me, I especially like your parallel path process answer because you can a little bit have your cake and eat it too, do the easy things while doing the hard things. I like starting easy. So yeah, I mean, I think that for me, it's like, okay, let's try splitting traffic between that collection page and the PDP of your bestseller and and like your homepage. Um, let's what like, the other question I might ask you is like, how much time have you spent trying to optimize that collections page, like the layout, the format, the structure, the content on it? And like, I don't know, Alex, how long have you spent on optimizing that page?
I will answer that in my role play, but that's a really good question because maybe I've already been fiddling around with this for like a year and there isn't really anything new to learn there. But for this role play, I haven't been doing a ton on the collection page. I basically am sending my ads to a bestsellers collection, and I will switch out what products are on that bestseller to try to find what moves.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this is just a really good place to start testing especially if you haven't done a lot of optimizations here, just because with all of the traffic going to this page, maybe not all, with a large percentage of your traffic going to this page, there are probably small changes that can have, even if it's a relatively small effect, because it's on such a high amount of traffic and presumably a lot of traffic, it's always about just getting more people to the next step and to the next step. And so I think that that's always a really good place to start. Let's just start with where people start, where, your visitors start their journey and like go from there. Um, but I also really like your point about the shipping rates being closest to the money. I mean, I think that um, one thing that triggers for me is when we think about marketing at Intelligems and we think about our own customer's journey to the e-commerce direct to consumer SaaS buyer, we actually often start at the bottom of the funnel and work our way up. Like, do we want to be adding more people to a suboptimal funnel, or do we want to be figuring out how to make the funnel work and then like work our way from the bottom of the funnel up? And so that way, like, as we get the number of people to the next step, it's of an optimized funnel. And so, um, because if you have something problematic towards the end, improving the conversions and the steps at the top of the funnel from step 1 to 2 doesn't matter if they're going to drop off at step 4 no matter what. And so figuring out how to like figure out that step 4 or 5 is going to be helpful. And then you keep getting more and more people and you go sort of from bottom to top. So I like that approach a lot. Maybe I'll repurpose it.
Yeah. And when you were saying, hey, Alex, if you're sending most of this to a collection page, try a PDP, try the homepage. That's a really good first test because I actually don't have to change anything. I'm just rerouting traffic. Like I literally am building nothing new. And I think like the where should I get started question, another really important facet of this is like if you're listening and like wondering where to get started, start in areas where you personally have the most control. So
Yep.
in that example there, like I don't have to design anything. I don't have to get anything built. Like if you're in a position where everything needs to go through like layers of approvals for certain types of things, stay away from those in the beginning and focus your efforts on areas where like you can make those changes and it doesn't have to go through approval A, B, and C to get there. Because again, the biggest thing is the more time you spend standing still, the less you're learning. And also if you're a buyer of Intelligems and you're standing still paying for it, like I don't want to see you doing that. I want you to be paying for Intelligems and getting an obscene amount of value out of it because you're constantly testing and you feel like you can test these things. And once you find those winners, it's a lot easier to go to the like whoever needs to put it through the approval process, or if it needs to go into like design review or something, it's a lot easier to make that request when it's like, yo, the last time I did this, we saw a plus 5% in terms of profit per visitor and it made us this much money. Pretty hard to say no to that.
And as you start using anything, you start getting into a habit. You and I, before we hit the record button, we're talking about going to the gym, like as soon as you start getting into the habit of going to the gym, all of a sudden the exercises, the machines that seemed intimidating and were too difficult to do. I couldn't squat when I started going to the gym. I still can't squat,
I
but
still can't squat,
maybe
but
if I went to the gym, I would figure out how to squat and I would get even stronger. And so you can build your way up to it. And it's like sometimes, you know, you want to be able to walk before you can run. I'm really mixing my metaphors here, but I think that that's a really good way to start getting value.
yeah, I think like, so I guess like we can probably keep this episode like pretty short and sweet. The biggest things, like if you just got started with IntelliGEMS, if you're thinking about getting started with IntelliGEMS, step one, figure out where you can have like the most traffic and potentially like the biggest impact on a small change. Where's the majority of your traffic going to? And then maybe figure out like 3 tests you're going to run. The reason I'm saying 3 this time is because like do the first one. And when you've gotten to a point where you've learned something, have the next one ready. No downtime on those small optimizations. Step 2, what is a bigger swing or one of these bigger levers that I can pull with a tool like IntelliGEMS that allows me to test something beyond the page? That could be shipping rates, shipping thresholds, offers, price. Pick one of these bigger things and build a hypothesis around that and run that test. Already be getting value from like these small optimizations. Build out this bigger one, launch that one, and have that next one ready to go. And then the third piece of this is like at the beginning, play in the areas where you are the most familiar or have the least amount of approvals to go through. Go find the wins, stack the wins so that you can bring more people on board and one, get more confident for yourself, like going to the gym.
I love it. And the more you do, the more you'll get an intuition of what's going to work well and, you know, what a big swing looks like and what a base hit looks like. So, you know, forming that intuition is also a good thing.
And if you have any questions about like what does a big swing look like there are members of the IntelliGEMS team that can help like either help you ideate or just bounce ideas off of. So like if you're wondering what one of those big swings is, reach out to Adam or I, reach out to someone on the IntelliGEMS team. We can absolutely help you figure out what that next big swing is going to be.
Cool. Thanks, Alex. This was awesome.